Good afternoon, it's Lindsay. It's Lindsay. It's August 29th. August 29th, 2024. It's that light. It's Thursday, and I'm doing a video today more about these narcissistic gang stalkers and the way they infiltrate your life whenever you when they continue to harass you and basically stalk you. Because they feel that they have unfinished business with you, and so they're going to continue a smear campaign and stalking you and harassing you and basically threatening you in a way. Let me talk about what happened with this person, because I have to document this, and I think I'm going to even say his name now, because this guy is such a jerk, a predator, and I'm actually thinking I might say his name. I don't know if I'm going to say his name in this video, but I might, if I feel like it, because this person should be exposed for what he's doing, to take advantage of vulnerable people. And I don't know how they get away with this and how often, who's paying them to do this kind of thing, but clearly they work with the fusion centers and law enforcement or whatever, the government, to harass people. I had been ignoring, and this isn't just an ongoing situation that I'm having to deal with this person who seems to think that I am like his property, or he seems to think that I'm like a business contract that I never signed, like I'm a slave to his needs. And what happens whenever you've caused a narcissistic injury with somebody and you have called them out for their atrocities, you'll get really angry and you start cussing and you'll say things and talk, you get mad because you're defending yourself, right? And what they do to women is they want you to get really angry, either verbally or whatever, so they can accuse you of verbal abuse or whatever, to entrap you. It's entrapping you with speech, because whenever you say that you're a liar, I know what you're up to, and you call them out for their stuff, then what? And you get mad because you know that they're fucking lying to you, right? And so this is what kept happening to me over and over and over again throughout the past over a year of this relationship with this person who was harassing me. I would say, I know who you are. I know that you're not who you say you are. And why don't you just tell me what you want from me? Who do you work for? And why do you continuously pursue me and exploit me sexually? Because he was exploiting me in a way that was very uncomfortable. And I would say these things via text or on the phone, and then he'd say that he'd accuse me of being verbally harassive or verbally abusive. I'd say to him things like, fuck off, leave me alone, you're a jackass, you're an asshole. And I would say these things because you're reacting to the abuse. This is what happens whenever you're in such shock that a person is what they're doing to you, and how they're traumatizing you, and the psychological manipulations that these stalkers and perpetrators, narcissists, use against their victims. Well, of course, you're going to start acting out verbally, because with women, and this is a form of abuse. It's like domestic abuse, basically. Thank God I was not married to this man. Thank God I don't have kids with him, and thank God it was, because this guy's a jack. He's very demanding, and it was getting to the point where I was getting afraid for my safety almost, because he was so demanding, and of my body, like treating me like a slave, literally. And it makes me remember how the first time I met him, he tried to get me immediately to go to some motel across the street called La Quinta Inn, over there at Mi Tierra restaurant in downtown San Antonio, and I said no. Because he kept touching me. He wouldn't keep his hands off me, okay? He just couldn't keep... I was like, quit touching me so much. I said, can you just stop? Can we just have a conversation without you getting your hands all over me? And he wouldn't leave me alone. And he was touching my legs, it's like, what's wrong with you? This is not what a person does on a first date, right? And so it was really weird. And I already knew right there that was a bad sign about this person, that I needed to be aware that he's like a predator of some kind. Because he was already trying to get me, begging me and telling me to please go with him to his hotel across the street. There, he called it his hotel, and it was a La Quinta Inn motel across the street there in downtown from Mi Tierra. And so I was like, no. And then he kept pursuing me after that, and so I ended up meeting him there the next day, I think. and then, whatever. But so that whole thing went out very quick. Like whatever, what happens is when you get too, and this is something that everybody knows, but when you get too involved with these people who you meet on a dating site too quickly, like intimately, in any kind of intimate way, that's all because what they do, and I'm sure women are aware of this, and people in the dating pool trying to date now, if this is what goes on, is what men do. First of all, they're looking for friends with benefits, because most people are already tired of dating. They don't want to spend money. They don't want to waste time. People are busy with their careers and things. They don't want to. Nobody wants to put the investment into like having to spend money or time on somebody, because really what they want to do, obviously with men mostly, is they want to try you out sexually first to see if you're even worth pursuing, right? If they want to, that's why they want to get busy, intimate with most people on the first date, right? And they'll try to have actual full on, sex with a woman on the first date usually, and then you're like, wow, this is moving really quickly. You don't even want to take the time to get to know each other or hang out some. But no, they want to do that, and then they want to do something intimately with you, and then they act like they want to get to know you. But I'm just talking about from my own, what I've learned from some of these men, what I've learned from my own mistakes about moving too quickly, because they manipulate you. They want to get you drunk or have a few drinks. Usually they try. This is just what people do. They're slime balls. It's a slimy city, a slimy world out there when it comes to dating, and it's especially because of the internet and dating apps and whatnot. It's really difficult to meet quality people who are not just looking for sex or a one-night stand or whatever. And it's like, especially the older you get and the more experience you have with these types of scenarios, you'll be shocked at how men will throw themselves at you, and what kinds of explicit photos they send to you on dating sites and on your phone. If you give them your phone number, they'll send you basically pornographic photos almost of them masturbating, or pictures of their penis, of their genitals, and asking things like, will you do this to me? Will you dominate me? And it's like, they're very crass and crude. And so whenever this has happened to you over and over again, or throughout your dating experiences, you become kind of vulgar like them. It changes you, because you realize that, like, gosh, if they behave that way, it's like a game. They treat it like a game. So you kind of get that way back towards them and start talking trash to them, even though it's not really your character. You might it's like they are trying to turn you into someone who you're not usually, that's not really who you are. But that's part of what they do. It's all psychological, manipulative crap. It's like they want to punish. A lot of it is societal abuse towards women, because you'll find that these men are jaded. They've had bad relationships. And like, for example, I'll give you another example, because I'm on a dating site, right? And I talk to guys sometimes, and usually I get pursued by men who are either much younger than myself, or just men who don't speak English, or men who are looking for a green card, or just people that are just all kinds of men. But usually it's kind of funny, because they like this one person who I talked to, a younger guy, much younger, and I'll go back to the story of that other man in a minute. But anyway, let me go back to that before I start with this. If they're too persistent and pushy and aggressive, trying to get you to do things that you don't want to do after barely knowing them, just let me emphasize that that's a big red flag in any kind of getting to know somebody, and especially if you can't take them seriously. Like, you can already tell that people like that don't want to put the work into a real relationship. That's what I meant to say about that whole thing, when they're trying to force you into doing sexual things after one date. Okay, that's just wrong. That's like really low class, in my opinion. It's very disrespectful. It shows that they don't care about you. It shows they're not interested in you as a person. It just shows that they have an ulterior motive. Either it's financially motivated, or they just want your body for sex, to use you. And that's what I wanted to clarify about that, what I was talking about with that person this man trying to get me to go to the Hope Motel rather quickly. But so this other person on this dating site, though, here's another example of what they'll do or tell you about. Like they'll say that they are just in a, for example, it's a Caucasian man who was with a Chinese girl, and he told me that the girl was adopted, that she was like a 24-year-old and he's 30-something, young guy like in his 30s, 33, I don't know, and she's like 24, and he was with her for a couple years, I think. And apparently she was a Chinese girl who had been adopted by two lawyers, an American couple, from the U.S. who were lawyers. And apparently she was like really studious and this, that, and the other, and quite the achiever as far as academics and career. And she was all very career driven. And he said that was because her parents were pushing her towards that. And she refused to be, like he said that like she just wasn't, like he made it sound like it was something sexual, that a lot of the problems in their relationship stemmed from something that was sexual, that maybe she wouldn't do something that he wanted, or one of these types of situations. He didn't go into detail about it, but he was kind of making it sound like she wasn't doing what he wanted her to do. And go figure, a lot of men, and this is just another fact, that a lot of people, especially men, American men or whatever, or U.S. men like to get, a lot of Caucasian men like to get involved with exotic women or Asian women or whatever, women of a different, sometimes because it's that exotic look and that kind of, crave for something different. And so they do that a lot. And a lot of the times these women from these countries, China, third world countries like that, a lot of the times they're just very submissive and subservient towards men, because of their culture, or it's just, sometimes that's how they are. And so men know that, because really what most men want is they want somebody who's going to be subservient. They're not going to come out and tell you that, especially to a woman who was born and raised in the United States, who's independent minded. They don't like that. Most men can't stand that. Secretly, they can't stand that. If they're wanting you as a real girlfriend or relationship material, for example, if they ever wanted to marry someone, most men, especially in the Hispanic culture, Chicano, Mexicans, whatever, Latino culture, they don't like that. That's a kind of real taboo in their culture, is for a woman, like they'll entertain the idea and date you or have fun with you, but they're not gonna. That's as far that they're never gonna really, that they're not gonna. If they're traditional or whatever, or so they say they are, a lot of the times they're not, but they play it off like they're real traditional and religious and all this crap, when half the time they're not at all. But they love to portray that image like Mr. Perfect, Mr. Goody Two-Shoes. I went to church all the time growing up, and I go to Catholic Mass, or they'll put on a front half the time, and then when you get to know them, it's like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, because it's like you see how savage and mean and cruel and vindictive and abusive they can be towards women, sexually, like very much in control and demanding and abusive sexually. If you don't perform like they want, if you literally, they're looking for somebody who's like who's going to be a porno person for them, and they will try to get you to do things that you don't want to do. Or they'll, what I mean? This is what they do, a lot of these men, and they'll claim that they've only been in one or two relationships, or they are married to such and such for 17 years, and that's the only person they've ever been with, and they're new to the whole relationship thing. This is the shit that they say, when that's a lie, mostly. That that they've been with God knows how many women, and they cheated on their wives a lot. This is just what they say because they are so desperate for sex. It's really pathetic how desperate some men are for that, when a lot of men, don't have a problem with admitting that they'll be right up direct about, yeah, I watch porno and I masturbate. Okay, they'll just be upfront about it, okay, and let you know right off the bat, right up front. And it's like, well, okay, I might not like that, what you do, but as far as a porno thing, that's kind of not such, whatever, but at least you're up direct about what you do, because at least you're being honest. because people have a lot of people, because of religious beliefs or the way they are raised, or just society has there's a lot of stigma towards people who are not, like if they, men or women, the shame-based society thing about how, oh God, the guy masturbates, or they watch, that kind of thing. There's a lot of stigma towards that sometimes, so they are embarrassed, and they'll say they don't do that, but in fact, a lot of them actually do engage in that kind of thing, but they don't want you to know that. And so this is just something I've noticed, that these men, they lie. They really like to lie about their past and about who they are and what their experience is and what they're looking for. And, and it's just like, it gets to the point where it's almost amusing, because you can't really take them seriously, and you don't really know who they are half the time, because they're lying about who they are. They're lying about so many things, such as what has happened to me, where this person completely has lied to me so many times that and I still kept letting the person back into my house and doing shit, because he would, and then at that point is, and this is kind of a bit more about narcissistic abuse and this is kind of more about how the hoovering stage of the relationship of a discard, whenever you've discarded somebody or vice versa, what a lot of it, because of an ego thing that people have, they want to make sure that with these men especially, they have to make sure that they're the ones who are doing the terminating of that relationship, or the ones who are discarding you because of their ego. They don't want it. If you're the one who did that to them initially, they're going to keep hoovering you, trying to teach you a lesson, or like unfinished business, until they can come back and cause more damage to get even with you. And I can give you examples of what this person has done to me, because at this point with me, it's almost like I'm just seeing it, because I already know what's happened and what's going on, and how toxic this whole thing has been. Very toxic relationship, very abusive, sexually abusive, and manipulative, and one-sided, like being with a robot almost. Very emotionally disconnected person who you can't, they mimic you, they mirror you to try, because they're trying to impress you by mimicking you, and they wear a mask. And so whenever, when you upset these people, their ego is such that they have to get revenge on you via smear campaigns and things like this. And my revenge is just making videos about it and talking about it, because that helps me therapeutically, as well as getting it out of my system, talking about how messed up it is, how degrading it is, and the humiliating yet subtle things they'll do to, like, they know that you're in a hurry. For example, like this person, I would tell them no, over and over again. I don't want to see you again. Fuck off. Lose my phone number. It's over. I don't want to see. I would tell him these things via texting, because he kept pursuing me. And then he'd call me. I'm like, I don't want to see you anymore. I don't like you. I'm not. You're a liar. You've cheated on me. You lied to me. Even though it's like a friend, you're not even really their girlfriend. But even if it's like one of these weird things where it's like a friends type thing, but they don't want you to know, but they act like you're the only one that they're with, when that's a lie. And you know that, and you've caught them in the act. You basically have caught them lying to you, and you call them out for it, and they get so pissed off. And that's when they start to punish you with the hoovering. And the more you keep letting them in, and you'll explain to them, you're like, I know what you're doing. You're just hoovering me, and you're coming back to cause more damages. And they're like, what? What are you talking about? Where are you coming up with this? They get really manipulative and turn the tables and make it look like you're crazy, and they'll start calling you paranoid and psychotic, and that you're delusional and shit and crazy. This is their mechanism to deal with their personality disorder, of which is abusive, and it is very abusive. And this is what it's a form of domestic abuse. Whenever, imagine if you're a woman who's involved in a marriage, a toxic, real, like, government legal paper marriage with one of these people. Can you imagine what a trap that would feel like, if you can't get out unless you have to go through the state to get a divorce and do all that and hire an attorney or whatever some people have to do if you have a business with that person, or there's money or kids. You see how nasty these situations can get, and it's like I thank God every day that like I'm not in that kind of situation where I don't have kids with this individual or these toxic individuals. I'm not married to them. I don't have a business with them. There's no shared bank account. But you'll notice that they're really eager to know everything about your finances. They're real interested. They want to know all about how much money you have. And when they're getting that involved with you, and they're acting really cheap with you, like they don't take you out. They might, they're really cheap with you, but they're so interested in your finances. And it's like, what the fuck? Why are you who are you really? I know that a will and probate stuff is public record. A lot of the times you can find that shit out, how much, all that kind of crap. Sometimes if you're an attorney or work for attorneys, you can find this stuff out a lot of times because it's public record. But I've never gone out and told this person how much money I have in the bank or anything like that. But he's so wanting to know everything. It's like it's obvious that he has a motive with me that's financially motivated about my finances and about controlling me. It's about controlling me, sexually exploiting me, as well as my finances and exploiting me. And I see that very clearly because he treats me like fucking shit, like a doormat, like a dog. He does, like a fucking pet dog. He's real mean like that, really abusive, but he acts like he doesn't know what he's doing. He's just a fucking jerk, demanding, controlling, manipulative, can't keep his hand, like an Arrested Development child, like an adult Arrested Development. It's really annoying because with people like that, when they're a sex addict like that, and they've had problems with alcohol or whatever, substance abuse, maybe person's a cocaine addict. I don't know. He acts like he's on cocaine a lot of the times. He's on something. I can tell his behavior is really weird. His behavior is very lately. It's like it seems like he's on some kind of cocaine or drugs. That's just what I can sense. His behavior is very erratic. And it's my fault. See, it's my fault if I tell him no. He gets mad at me and scream and it basically says that I'm neglecting him and how dare I be like that, and it starts writing in all capital letters saying that I'm coming over there anyway and I'm not taking no for an answer. So it turns into like an abusive situation where you're like, well, wait a minute, I told you no. I don't want to see you, and you've even blocked. Sometimes you'll even block these people and then unblock them. Because it's like you kind of don't, until you're really in these kinds of weird entrapment type or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, because it's like the motherfucker's trying to entrap me, or pardon my language, but it's like, in their lie, they're two-faced liars. I know this person is some kind of agent of some kind sent to fuck up my life and cause me problems, financial and health. That's all they are. They're demons, demonically sent. They're demons. They are sent by government fucking demonic people. Send these people into your life, and when you see it for what it is, and you know what's going on, it's like there's a party that's so curious because it's like you're watching it happen in front of your eye, and you're almost in shock. Like, how could somebody be like this? How can they be that two-faced and manipulative? And it's almost so shocking because it's like and then they blame you. They blame shift and say you're the one making it. No, you're just reacting to their abuse. It's called reactive abuse. When you react to this kind of weird shit that they do, it's called reactive abuse whenever you're in these kinds of situations. It's completely abnormal behavior. It's not what any normal relationship would be like. It's very abusive. It's extremely toxic. And these people think that it's funny. They think that because, like with these men, since they're sex addicts and they have an addiction to having their dicks, they have addictions to things that they like, and they want you to do things that, it becomes very toxic and very disgusting and very humiliating. Let's just put it that way, because you feel like you're being enslaved by these people, and they abuse you. If you can't, they treat you like if you can't. They start criticizing everything about you, like the way you look. They tell you you're fat. They tell you need to go on a diet. They say you should get liposuction, shit like that you need to get better makeup or spend more money on things like that. And this is what they do. It's very abusive. It's like they start really, really dragging you down. They don't like it if you go to the gym But at the same time, they want you to look really perfect for them. But how dare you go to the gym? You shouldn't be doing that. You should be staying at home and catering to them like a little fucking, it's really twisted. And people like that, what they're doing, if they don't want you to do things that you like to do that you've been doing for a long time, they're projecting. They're projecting their own anger and negativity onto you, because a normal person is not going to have a problem with his girlfriend or whatever going to the gym. And if the person doesn't want to be out with you in public because they're embarrassed or whatever, then they're insecure, because that's showing that they have some kind of insecurity and they don't want to be seen in public, because maybe they're going to run into somebody who they know, like maybe their wife or ex. You know what I mean? It's always something. It's just really weird, and I've seen this before. Or I've seen that with this person, and it's like, who the fuck do you think you are? I'm not a contract to you. This is not a job. They treat you like you're an employee, like it's some kind of sick thing where you're supposed to do sexual favors to get a job. It's like, who the fuck are you? I don't work for the fucking government. I'm not trying to get a job with the fucking government. And you act like you're a handler. They act like a handler, and then and you tell them that, and they are, well, what's that? What are you talking about? A handler. They act stupid. They play dumb. They just play dumb whenever because they know exactly what they're doing, and they just play stupid. And they criticize you for everything you believe in. If you're somebody who doesn't like social communism and goes against the government like me, oh God, they're going to punish you for that. It's like they're your complete opposite in every kind of way, but for whatever reason, they're obsessed with harassing you. It becomes just harassment. And it's gotten to the point sometimes where some people have to literally, oh gosh, get the police involved when these motherfuckers work for the fucking police. So it's like you can't really do that, because these shit fucks usually work for the fucking corrupt police or government or whatever, or military or FBI, so you can't really. It's like if you get the authorities involved, well, obviously they're going to take side of the fucking sociopath, right? You see how it's a catch-22 that they do to you on purpose to entrap you in speech and abuse you. And this happens all. It's a form of severe psychological abuse. And I know that this happens to people who don't talk about it because of their reputation, because of because they don't want to be called out for what they really are, and they have a quote unquote status and reputation in the community that they don't want smeared, yet they're going to smear your fucking name all over the place where you go and whatever to ruin your life. But don't you think it should happen to them for what they're doing? Don't you think somebody should call them out for their abuses? But nobody does it. You see, nobody does it. And then when you do, God forbid, talk about it, they just label you as crazy and discredit you. And it's like you can't even. These are types of situations you're left helpless. Like literally, a lot of women die. People die from abuse like this, from the psychological effects and the trauma and the sleep, all the anxiety causes you to have health problems, mental, physical health problems that you never. It's like you're just dealing with a fucking demon. And then they have the audacity to do shit like it's a constant nitpicking about your body and about what you eat, and making fun of you about what you eat and what you wear. And here's a little cookie, like they'll bring you a soda from McDonald's. Is this something you didn't ask for? Like they'll come into your house, I'm coming over, let me come over, and they'll come to bring in like a food from McDonald's that they eat. I don't eat that fucking hamburger. I don't eat hamburgers from McDonald's. I don't eat meat. But they'll bring that, and they'll put their food out on your. It's like they just take over. They invade. It's like they invade your. It's like, what the fuck are you? Do you have any? Can you be a little bit? It's like they act like they're very They treat your property and your space like it's theirs. Things that I would never do in somebody's house that I don't live in. They're very ill-mannered. Oh, let me take a shower. And they'll fucking go take a shower and make a fucking mess. They leave shit all over the place, trash in your house. They're really rude, very ill-mannered. And but like I said, they usually live with their mother. Their mother is a toxic enabler, and they have a codependency relationship with their mother when it comes to males. Usually men like that, they're very toxic usually. You'll find that these men like that who live with their mother after age 50, if they're not their caretaker, even though the mother is married. It's kind of weird, when you really think about it. It's like, well, why do you live at your mom and dad's when you could live at you have enough money to live in your own apartment and pay your own? Why do you live at home? It's just things you have to wonder. It's not that it's plenty of people live at home, especially in the Hispanic culture, but you have to kind of ask yourself or think about why exactly would a man who's supposedly divorced for 6 years, yet he still has pictures of her on his Facebook, and if you do a search on him, it's listed that they live at the same address. Obviously, they're still in contact, or maybe he's financially supporting her or something weird. There's something going on there, right? And why would he be living at his mom and dad's at that age? These are just things that you kind of wonder. It's like, well, have you ever done a background check on them? No. Have you ever done like a thorough background check? And you're like, no. You think, why haven't you? Why haven't you? If you're letting somebody, and I'm asking myself these rhetorical questions, like if I've allowed somebody in my home over and over and over again, they know all these things about me, all these personal things, and you're fucking opening up to them and telling them shit, yet they keep all these secrets from you, and they get angry if you ask them any questions about themselves or their past. Isn't that a red flag? To anybody with common sense, yes, it is. Of course it is a red flag if they're keeping this kind of information from you, especially if you're that intimate with them. And that's all bad. That's wrong. And that shows right there that they're low class, that they have a lack of morals. They might have a good family, good members of the family, and they may have good values, but a lot of their values are very, very corrupt and immoral. That's ill education, right? That shows a lack of respect. The things that I'm talking about when they just invade your space, mock you, make fun of you, humiliate you, gaslight you, and future fake with shit. Oh, I want to buy your paintings. All this crap that they do to insult you, making fun of you. This is very abusive. It is a very form of psychological abuse to them because their culture is so fucked up in a lot of ways, the way they're raised, whatever happened to them in their childhood or teenage years. They seem to think it's normal, this kind of treatment towards people they don't know. They think, for them, for whatever reason, this kind of behavior is just normal. Like, this is what people do. There's no problem with it. And you're like, no, that's not normal. I wasn't raised to treat people like that. I don't go into somebody's house and just fucking sit down and act like I own the house and put my food all over the place and make a mess and leave the fucking toilet seat up and things like that. And you don't even live here and you're not even my boyfriend. I mean, what the fuck kind of person is going to do that? Think about it. And I'm asking myself why. Yeah, it's my fault for, even though it's like, but they want to keep you trauma bonded and curious. They keep wanting to keep you in the loop of harassment and abuse because you're always questioning you're always questioning your, they want you to question your own reality. Like this is gaslighting where they're making you question, they want you to doubt your own what you see going on in front of you. They want you to make that's a form of psychological manipulation called gaslighting, where they're getting you to doubt your own reality, what's going on. This is abuse, and this is something that narcissistic, sex addicts, sociopaths, undiagnosed, borderline men, histrionic men, because it comes in men and women too. Not just women are histrionic. Don't just blame women for being bipolar or histrionic or borderline. It can be men as well. Social personality disorders, it goes both ways. But with men, they're abusive. With women, it's more verbal. Okay, men get violent and aggressive sexually and territorial. With women who are quote unquote borderline or bipolar or whatever diagnosis they choose to label you with, it's more about you getting revenge verbally, okay, because they are calling them out for it, exposing him. And women who women are not dumb, who've been through this kind of thing. Women are able to perceive abuse and see it for what it is, and they're very intuitive. A lot of women, especially when you've been through this over and over again, your third eye and your intuition is always warning you about these kinds of things, and you really should pay attention, or you have to, because it's a sign from God or whoever to protect you. At least that's what I think. It's little things that somebody's trying to protect you against these kinds of predatory people, because they really are. They might seem charming and innocent, but it's a mask. The mask is going to fall off. They're wearing an act. They're putting on a front, an act for you. It's not real. And you're thinking, well, yes, it is. You doubt your own. You really start to doubt your own thoughts, because this is the way they manipulate you into thinking that it's normal behavior, and what's wrong with you, and why can't I come over, and why are you neglecting? They flip it. You say no. Tell them the word no. Oh, but why not? Why are you being so mean with me? I'm going to remember this. You're neglecting me. I need you. I need your touch, baby. Like BBY, instead of they're so lazy. They can't even really text a full sentence. It's all about demands. And it's like that right there. This is a transaction. This whole, what I'm describing here, what happened to me for the past over a year with this individual, it's a transaction. Okay, it's not a relationship. They're not your friend. A friend wouldn't do that to somebody. This is a transaction. They've never done one, like you'll go back thinking, what has that person ever done for me? Oh yeah, they spent a couple dollars on a cookie here and there. They'll bring you a soda. Okay, they'll spend a couple, because they're so eager to have some kind of sexual encounter. They'll pay for a motel for a night, and they're so, they'll do that. They'll spend money on that kind of thing, but it's all very, sexual. Everything, it's not like if they give you a gift, which they sometimes do, it's also very sexual. You'll find that it's also all about like your body and something that you wear that's sexy. It's very perverted. It's very much about, oh, I want to see you in the shower. I want to be in the shower with you, Lindsay. Why didn't you call me? I wanted to take a shower with you. It gets very to the point where it's like they're demanding. It's like, wait a minute, fuck you. You're not even my boyfriend or what's wrong with you? They're very, oh, but you're their friend, right? But they're saying, keep in mind that whatever they're telling you, the template text that they're sending you, like, I had a great time, baby. Thank you for pleasing me, or thank you for taking care of me. Imagine that they're sending the same template text to God knows how many women. Because half the time they don't put your name. It's like because you'll see the patterns of when they text you. You'll see the patterns, and it's like when the patterns change of when you receive these kinds of texts that are all the same, then you know something's on. You know that they're with someone else, or they're grooming a new supply or whatever, or going back to their old source in the harem garage whenever, this is what they do. And their behavior becomes rather predictable because you can see the changes in the texting, the changes in their behavior, the way they treat you, the way you see all these changes, and you know that they've been with someone else even though they've told you no. And you have the right to know that. If you're being intimate with somebody, and you have the fucking right to know what they're doing. All I've asked is, have you been with anyone else? And they say no. Well, don't fucking lie to me. All you have to do is be honest. And then I can, from there, decide what the fuck I want to do. But if you're fucking lying to me like that over and over again, which they do, they lie. They don't know how to be honest. They're so accustomed to lying to people and getting their way and manipulating people that's all they know. Don't expect them to ever be honest with you about anything. And here's an example of what he did to me. The other day he shows up. I'm busy. And of course with me, they target me about my hair because I have issues with hair loss and all that kind of crap. So of course they have to, and this guy has a shaved head or bald or whatever, and so he has to make sure that he makes me feel bad about my appearance because he's a fucking egocentric guy who has to mock me and make fun of me because he's got insecurities. Okay, so now it's picking me on about my hair, and that making fun of me if I don't look a certain way, and that, picking on me about my clothes. And so I told him the other day, he's like saying, I'm coming over, let me come over. I said, no. I said, no, I don't want to see you. I'm coming over anyway. I said, no, I don't want to see you. Please, I'm busy. Oh, please, you can't do this to me. So stupid me, I give in and let him come over. He shows up. I had to go. I said, I have to go run an errand. Where are you going? I said, none of your business. Where are you going? Why do you need to know where I'm going? You know, it's like they have to know every little thing you're doing. It's like it's none of your fucking business where I'm going. You know, I'm going to the store, I'm going to the post office or whatever. But they want to know every little thing you're doing, right? It's like, why? Why do they need to know every little thing you're doing? How controlling? What the fuck is wrong with people who do that? Why are people so controlling? So then he shows up after I ran my errand. I was like, out, oh, let's get in the shower. He comes over here with the fucking McDonald's little crate of McDonald's soda and a bag of McDonald's fucking hamburger that he eats like a slob, opening his mouth the whole time, talking with his mouth full of food, talking to me, running his mouth about 50 miles an hour, meanwhile touching me and crap, can't keep his hands off me, starts taking his penis out of his pants, tell me to touch him. It's like, dude, calm the fuck. Are you on fucking cocaine? What the fuck is wrong with you? You know, what the fuck? It's like he can't keep his hands off me, but he's trying to eat and talk with his mouth full at the same time. It's like, are you on cocaine or drugs? What's wrong with you? And then he brings me, yeah, their behavior is so fucking out of line and so just like a fucking dog, like an animal, like a barbaric savage. And then he comes here, he brings a bag, a little plastic bag of cookies, a little plastic bag with these cookies. He said, here's some Oreos for you. And he throws out this little fucking plastic bag, a Ziploc bag of cookies. And I'm like, oh, well, thank you, you know. And he's like, well, they're my mom's. I got them for my mom, but I'm bringing them for you. I'm like, okay. So he's like, go ahead, aren't you going to eat one? I'm like, no, I don't want one right now. He's like, come on, try it. I said, it's just he said it was an Oreo, but it wasn't even an Oreo. It was one of these like off-brand cookies. It you know, tastes like an Oreo, but it's not, you know. And I'm like, okay. And I was like, oh, it's not an Oreo, but it's good enough. You know, they have to, they're very cheap. I mean, I can be too, but they have to rub it in your face. They want to make sure that you know that you don't have any. What they're doing is punishing you to make you feel like you don't have any value, like you're not worth anything. And this is subtle ways that they do this to manipulate you. Like off-brand, they do all kinds of weird shit with brand name. And look, I'm wearing a brand name and you don't. They pick on you about what brands. It's all about, with them, it's all about status and image. Because maybe they have a job. It's like they're very superficial. They're so brand conscious and shallow individuals. Very shallow. When you really start to see it, it's like, wow, it's really a turnoff in a lot of ways when they behave like, you know, it's really weird when they behave to that extent. Like it's just a turnoff. For me it is, because I think it's really weird, that behavior. And so they'll do this with food and brand name clothes and shoes. It's all about what brand it is and how much money did it cost, and it's all about money, and all they see in you are dollar signs. You know, it's like you're nothing but a fucking something that they can exploit financially, and they're going to find out whatever way they can to sexually exploit you and to get money from you. It's all sexual and financial with these narcissistic sociopaths. And that's all it is. It's a transaction. You can't see it for anything different, because that's all it is. They have no emotions. They mock you and mirror you and make fun of you and get mad at you. If you exhibit any kinds of emotions or creativity or personality, they get mad at you and punish you for being yourself. These people are, that's how it's like, I have the right to be whoever the fuck I want to be. This is my personality. How the fuck dare you come into my house and tell me how to behave in my own fucking house? Fuck you is what I'm thinking. Like, how dare you? Who the fuck do you think you are? Right? That's the kind of things that you're thinking, like, who the fuck is this? Who is this person? Besides a demon, besides some kind of demonically possessed asshole. Why do they have the need to control somebody so much? Because of their own insecurities. That's why. And they're projecting onto you what they hate about themselves. It's all it is. It's projection. Projection, manipulation, projection. You're the toxic dump. You have to take in their toxicity. You're their dumpster. You're their cum dumpster. I hate to say that word, but something like that. You know what I mean? They want you to suck their dick, and they want you to swallow that shit and become a cum dumpster for their fucking toxic demons. And I don't know what other way to say it, but that's how you start to feel, like a fucking dumpster for their shit. And that's how they treat you as well. Like they're there at your house to release all their fucking demons onto you, and it's your job to clean up their fucking mess. And they treat you like a whore, like this individual literally was treating me like I'm a fucking whore to him, like nothing but a 2-bit whore. And it's very demeaning and abusive psychologically. But I was putting up with it and tolerating that kind of sexual abuse. And emotional abuse, because and you'll feel that you don't feel anything to, like you might, like you'll realize you don't have any feelings towards these kind of people. You're after, when you really see it for what it is, it's like you don't really hate them, because in a way you feel pity for them. A weird part of you feels sorry for how fucking fucked up they are, and another part of you is like, how pathetic. And another part of you thinks, well, they need help, and you want to help them. And another part of you hates them. It's like, but you have mixed emotions, but you don't feel love. You don't really care. It's like you actually kind of hate them in a way. You resent them, but you certainly don't. It's like, it's impossible to form any kind of, what I'm trying to say, I think, is with these kinds of toxic people, you can't really form any kind of real bond or connection with them, because it's like you're dealing with somebody who's so soulless and empty deep down, and they hate you for seeing who they really are, or they can't handle for you to expose their flaws, because they think they're perfect and they expect you to be perfect. And whenever you exhibit any kind of flaw towards these individuals, they act out like children. And they get even more abusive with you, sexually or whatever, and harassing you and stalk. The harassment can turn into stalking. And sometimes, in a lot of situations, people end up dead. Women end up dead, getting killed by these kinds of men, or murdered, or they end up committing suicide if you get that involved entangled in these toxic situations. Because a lot of times these men are married, or they have a significant other. Or, they'll abuse you to the point that they want to drive you to suicide. They want to fucking drive you to the mental hospital. They want to drive you to an early death with all the toxicity and abuse. And that's what they're trying to do. They don't have any intentions of helping you, of making your life better. It's all toxic shit to drag you down, because they're fucking sick people. And they are, and you see it. And they hate you for seeing them for who they are. They really do, and they punish you. And so little things like that, the little insults, it all piles up to the point where you're like, this person is a fucking demon. I don't want to have anything to do with them. They make me sick. I feel like sick to my stomach the next day, and the few days after you see them, you feel disgusted with yourself. You feel insulted, degraded, humiliated. And this is all done on purpose, by the way. They do it on purpose. And so I just had to talk about some toxic shit that they'll do. And it's all fine. Like I said, I can go on and on about how, like, all the coincidences of the fact that the attorney in this probate case, her last name is Luna. And this person was always going to this place in San Antonio called the Luna Bar, or some Luna shit, that he dances and drinks. And so, in me, it just so happens that I didn't pick these. I didn't, it's all done. It's not a coincidence. And for years and years, in Luna, yeah, it's a common word, Luna, moon, whatever. But they're fucking mocking me and doing this to insult me and pick on my personality type. Because I eat these fucking Luna bars all the time, and I've been eating these lemon Luna bars for or not just lemon ones, but for a long time, these Luna bars that I like a lot for many a year now. And so that's part of it. I eat Luna bars. He goes to the fucking Luna bar and dances and shit like that. And the Melinda Luna, the attorney, appointed by Robert, the judge in Kerrville for the probate of my dead deceased father, Alan Baldwin, Judge Robert Kelly. You see how it's all connected? The name Robert, all these words. It's like playing a fucking crossword puzzle with words and analogies and connecting the dots to all this shit that they think I can't kind of figure it out, how it's all connected and synchronized. And it's like, wow, it's really, because they're monitoring every fucking thing I do with surveillance cameras. in my house without my permission. And I can go on and on about other shit that they do, my own fucking toxic mother, her son, all the crap that they fucking do to exploit me in ways that are so fucking shitty and sick that I don't want to have anything to fucking do with her or any of these people in my family. I don't give a fuck. They are so sick and demented individuals who do this kind of shit to their horrible psychological abuse that they inflict on their own family and kids, or that horrible stuff, toxic shit.